Call on the 29th of November, 2022 at 15:27 p.m. Dispatcher, 911. What is your emergency? Caller, I'm lost. Dispatcher, you're lost? Caller, and cold. Really cold. Dispatcher, what's your name? Caller, Brian. Dispatcher, Brian. And how old are you, Brian? Caller, 8.5. Dispatcher, do you think I'd be able to talk to Mom or Dad? Caller, they're not here. I'm lost. Dispatcher, okay. How did you end up getting lost, Brian? Caller, I woke up here. Dispatcher, and what does here look like, Brian? Caller, it's a dark room. Really dark. I don't know. I'm shining my phone light, but it's too dark. The floor is hard. It smells. There's a brick missing in the wall. I see grass. I think I see a red maple tree, but shadows keep blocking my sight. Dispatcher, a red maple tree? Wow, you sure know your trees. Caller, there are lots of them in my town. Grandma likes them. Dispatcher, that's really good work, Brian. Hopefully that means you're still nearby. Okay, well, let's work backwards. Perhaps you could tell me where you live? Caller, I'm not supposed to say that to strangers. Dispatcher, I know, but I need to ring your mom or dad, Brian. I need to let them know that you're okay. They'll be worrying about you. Do you know how I might be able to reach them? My name's Louise, by the way. Caller, they're not alive anymore. Dispatcher, oh, I'm sorry, Brian. Who looks after you? Caller, Grandma. Dispatcher, okay. How would I reach Grandma? What's her address or phone number? Caller, I don't know. Dispatcher, do you know the town? Caller, oh, yeah. We live in redacted. Dispatcher, well done. That's quite far away from here, but don't worry. I'll need Grandma's name to find her address. Caller, I just call her Grandma. I don't know her name. Sorry. Dispatcher, okay, that's fine. Don't worry. What's your surname, Brian? Caller, Smith. Dispatcher, thank you, Brian. Dispatcher speaks off phone. Dispatcher, they're looking for her now, okay? Caller, okay, I'm really scared. Dispatcher, well, it was very grown up of you to ring us, Brian. I'm going to need you to carry on being a big boy and help me out, okay? Caller, okay. Dispatcher, starting from the beginning, what's the last thing you remember before you woke up? Were you with Grandma? Caller, no. I was walking home from school. Dispatcher, on your own? Caller, Timmy was with me. Dispatcher, what's Timmy's surname, Brian? Caller, Brown. Dispatcher, thank you. Dispatcher speaks off phone. Dispatcher, that'll really help us, Brian. You're doing a fantastic job. What happened to you and Timmy? Caller, he went around the corner and vanished. Dispatcher, and then what happened? Caller, I spent a few minutes searching for him on redacted, and then I heard rustling in the bushes by the road. There was a man, an old man. Dispatcher, do you think you'd be able to describe him? Caller, he had a black coat. Dispatcher, okay, anything else? Caller, I don't remember. Have you found me? I watched a show with cops who could find people through phones. Dispatcher, we've tried to triangulate the call, but we've not been able to pinpoint your location. Caller, oh, okay. You know, it looks really windy out there. Dispatcher speaks off phone. Dispatcher, Brian, one of our officers, just spoke with your grandma. She said you've been missing for 5 months. Caller, but I only just woke up. Dispatcher, do you remember what happened before the dark room? Do you remember any other place in which you might have stayed? Caller, but I was walking home from school yesterday. Dispatcher, Brian, you and Timmy Brown went missing 5 months ago. Caller, crying, I want to go home. Dispatcher, I know, Brian. I want you to come home too. Do you think you could be brave for me and look around the room with your phone? Caller, maybe it smells. Dispatcher, I know, but it might help us, especially if you could get a better look through that gap in the wall. Caller, okay. Dispatcher, thank you, Brian. Remember, I can't see what's happening. You'll have to keep me updated as you move. Caller, I'm shining my light around me. There's a locked door on the far side. I tried opening it earlier, and the smell's getting worse. It's getting... Screams and vomits, dispatcher. Brian? Brian? Are you okay? Caller. Crying. It's wearing Timmy's clothes. Dispatcher. What do you mean, Brian? Caller. There's a skeleton on the floor and it's wearing Timmy's clothes. Dispatcher. Okay, stay calm, Brian. Please stay calm. Dispatcher speaks off phone. Dispatcher. Officers are searching the road on which you went missing, Brian. Caller. Are they going to find me? Dispatcher. Yes, Brian. Caller. And it won't take 5 months. Dispatcher. I promise. Is there anything else in the room that might help? The gap in the wall, maybe? Would there be any way for you to escape? Caller. It's only missing 1 brick. I can't fit through there. Dispatcher. Okay, what can you see through it? Caller. Let me get closer. I'm shining my torch. I'm too small. I can just see grass and the red maple tree. Everything's so weird out there. It keeps getting really dark. Dispatcher. What do you mean, Brian? Caller. It's hard to see things. And it's really windy. Door unlocks. Caller. Oh no. Dispatcher. Brian? Caller. I have to hang up. I don't want him to find my phone. Call ends on the 29th of November, 2022 at 15:39 p.m. Call on the 29th of November, 2022 at 16:50 p.m. Dispatcher, 911. What is your emergency? Caller, whispering, it's me. Dispatcher, who is this? Caller, it's Brian. Where's Louise? Dispatcher speaks off phone. Dispatcher, I'm going to pass this on to Louise. Brian. Switches line. Dispatcher, Brian. Caller, hi, dispatcher. Are you okay? Caller, I turned off my phone to save battery, but I think he knows I have it. Dispatcher, what happened, Brian? Caller, he said he knew I'd been misbehaving, and he didn't mind, but he'd have to slow the world down, and then he hurt me. Crying, he cut the skin off my feet. He made me watch as he put it over Timmy's bones. Dispatcher, Brian. Caller, he said he's going to save my prettiness because time is ugly. He said a little thing like me couldn't understand time because I've not spent it. I'm scared. Dispatcher, we're going to find you before he can hurt you again. I promise. Caller, it's been days. Where are you? You said you'd find me soon. Dispatcher, Brian, it hasn't been days. We were just talking on the phone an hour ago. Caller, no, we weren't. I don't know why you keep making things up. Dispatcher, Brian, you've experienced a horrible thing for months, and... Caller, I think this room is evil, Louise. I haven't been able to sleep. It's always light outside. Dispatcher, can you still see the maple tree? Caller, why? Yeah, but it's not windy outside anymore. It's just calm, sunny and calm. All day, every day. Dispatcher. I don't think that's the sun, Brian, especially not at this time. It's almost night. Caller. But it's so bright out there, and I can still see it, the maple tree. Dispatcher. Listen, local officers have been scouring every inch of your hometown. You were right when you said there were lots of red maple trees. But they're certain that they're getting close. Caller. The man in the black coat. He doesn't feed me very well. I ate a sandwich yesterday. But I'm so hungry. He said he'll keep me just about pretty enough. Dispatcher speaks off phone. Dispatcher. Brian, I've just been told something that I don't quite understand and... Caller. Oh no, he's back. I can hear him. Call ends on the 29th of November, 2022 at 16:53 p.m. Call on the 29th of November, 2022 at 17:31 p.m. Dispatcher, 911. What is your emergency? Caller. It hurts. Dispatcher. Beat. Brian? Caller. He took the skin from my hands. It hurts to hold my phone. He said we still have a long way to go to make Timmy pretty enough. Dispatcher. Brian, I don't understand. You shouldn't be. Caller. The sun hurts so much. Why won't it set? Dispatcher. I don't I don't know, Brian. Responding officers uncovered a door in a woodland hollow near Redacted. It led to an underground room containing the blood-stained clothes of the two victims and decomposing bone fragments belonging to Brian Smith. Forensics experts believe Timothy Brown's remains had been removed. Brian Smith's phone was also found in the room, and later testing would confirm it to be the same device used on dispatch calls with Louise Radcliffe, ruling out the possibility of an external caller fabricating the events transcribed above. Inexplicably, though officers discovered Brian Smith's corpse at 16:47 p.m., Radcliffe continued speaking with the victim until his phone ran out of battery at 19:09 p.m. Fellow officers corroborated Radcliffe's story of the overlap between the phone call and the body's discovery. After reading the full transcript, not included here, investigators were significantly interested in Brian Smith's comment on the suspect's obsession with the passage of time. Investigating officers have been unable to provide a rational explanation for conflicting evidence regarding the exact times and dates at which the events of this case took place.